And welcome to News Game Plus again, as usual. I'm Dermie, and I'm here with New Game Plus executive producer Jason and Callahan. Now, you have been playing a very interesting game, which I'm worried about.
Okay, look. Okay, I'd like to.
We need to get this out here just in case anyone asks.
You're the one playing recycled Unreal trash, right? So don't you be having to go.
I'll get to my recycled Unreal trash.
Mine is just Unreal recycled asset trash. Like mine is crime scene cleaner. I'm desperately.
Why are you practicing this?
Okay, so I'm desperately waiting for Power Wash Simulator 2 because Power Wash Simulator 1 was Game of the Year all years, and crime scene cleaner gives me some of that same satisfaction of cleaning a space. I look around my messy house at the moment, but yes.
My daughter once said to me, "Do you know why men get caught more for murder?" And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Because women are much better." Much more practice at washing blood out of things.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I've thought about it multiple times. Like, what would it take for me to kill someone? Because I know I'm going to jail. Because there's no way I would be sufficiently.
It's a dark podcast.
I would sufficiently clean up well enough. I know I would get caught. So for me, it would really have to be. You know what I mean? Like I'm so mentally sane. I realize that killing people's bad because I'm gonna go to jail almost instantly for it. So. That's a sign of sanity, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't think you can know if you're sane or insane.
No, that's true. You personally cannot.
Your own
you
brain
personally cannot. That is very true.
I've often wondered that one actually.
It's like always the self-diagnoses of various mental illnesses on the internet.
Do you know if you got dementia?
No, but I mean, today you may. Today, give it a couple of hours and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, because I told my son if I ever get dementia, then I just want him to bring me Deus Ex Human Revolution every day for the rest of my life. And also, it's Sixth Sense. I want him to bring me a copy of the Sixth Sense every day for the rest of my life.
Did I tell you my Sixth Sense story where Mum took us into the cinemas and I guessed the ending within 4 minutes and I just told her, I said, "Oh, Bruce Willis is dead, isn't he?" She goes, "Well," I said, "I assume he's dead because."
Yes, then he walked out going, "Who would have thought the bad guy was Luke Skywalker's father?"
Wait, Kevin Spacey's Kaiser Soze? Like, yeah.
The ship sinks at the end.
Yeah. All right, well, Jesus, that is a spoiler.
So you've been playing, you've been practicing cleaning crime scenes. Which,
so it's
good to have a hobby.
It's no, it's
no, my last podcast.
Now I know to clean up. No, but it's not as precise as Power Wash Simulator. Like Power Wash, the joy of Power Wash Simulator just cannot be understated. It's fun. The idea, it is tedious. You do it, so say you start like mopping up with like a sponge or a mop or whatever. You have to rinse the mop, otherwise you're just spreading blood around, and then you have to empty the mop bucket and blah blah blah. And then you can put detergent in to keep thing. You got to throw away rubbish. You've got to
Is it like being Mr. Wolf in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, basically that's the whole premise of the game.
Have you seen Wolves, the movie?
No.
Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen
it. It's not bad. It's not what I expected, but it's part of the Pulp Fiction cinematic universe because they're both wolves.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Wolves. Yeah, I didn't get that when I saw the previews. I thought it was going to be something else, but it's actually like two Mr. Wolf guys who didn't want to work together. It's a buddy comedy. You don't see many buddy comedies these days. Everyone's afraid to make them.
You do not see. Think of it. You do not see comedy at the cinemas anymore because you can't take. People have TikTok skits and watch the same clips over and over again, or they'll watch like a random Mr. Bean or a comedy clip. Most people would not trade in going to the cinemas to watch a well thought out comedy spoof movie over watching another clip of Would I Lie to You? And Would I Lie to You is great, but let's be real, it's not the same thing.
Is it also because if you're going to do a movie, like remember Something About Mary, right? No, that's got some content there that'd be interesting to try now, but you're building it up over time.
Yeah.
And the people, is it the old thing about attention spans? People don't have the attention span to wait for it.
And
you have to have bang, zinger after zinger, like Marvel style bullshit.
Yeah. And the idea that it's just the kids, like I was saying to you when before we started the podcast,
we were talking about comedy just before this, yeah.
Yeah, we're watching, and we're also watching. I watched Mission Impossible: Dark Reckoning or whatever it is. Is that what
Dead Reckoning?
Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, Dead. On the theme of your cleanup game.
Yeah. But I was watching it and I'm like, but even Tom Cruise's physical comedy was great when he's driving that car and he's handcuffed and just his face and he's like, I'm sorry, this doesn't always happen when he crashes the car. I'm like, these are really good jokes that no one's going to register. But it was just he had really good comedic timing. It was really funny. But no one makes a movie where it's just comedy anymore. You just can't do it.
I think he's just so experienced he can do that. But then again, I was totally focused on Haley Atwell.
Yeah, that's true. That's what it was.
I didn't even know he was in the movie.
Jim Raston, it was Haley Atwell. That's what it was.
Yeah, I didn't even know Tom Cruise was in it.
Yeah, they picked like every modern hot British woman. It's like Haley Atwell. It's the from Ted Lasso, the team owner. Like all these. Yeah. So,
the Amazon one.
Yes,
the Amazon chick, and also Ferguson, who's in Silo. I've been watching Silo. Silo's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of know how it ends, and it's pretty obvious you'll guess how it ends, but the actual way they talk about the control that's done over this society is actually kind of interesting. But yeah.
Well, no, I must say, like, I've been enjoying cinema more than like I'm still playing a lot of games, still playing a lot of Monster Hunter, still playing a lot of Helldivers, lot of Helldivers. But from the point of view of what am I, like obviously what I'm playing and stuff like that. I've been watching. No. That was I actually got to turn myself up for once. I've been watching a lot of movies. Every Tuesday we go to the movies now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh okay. I get half price movie tickets every Friday night with my house insurance. I think it is.
Yeah, nice.
And I've gone once to June 2. The second one.
You would like them surely.
Which one?
But the June movies.
Oh, they're good. I mean, I've said before, Hollywood hikes when it comes to science fiction, but June was nailed.
Yeah, but it's also what's his name, Dennis
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, yeah. And he was like controversial opinion. I think Blade Runner 2 was better than Blade Runner 1. If we're looking at it from a movie perspective, I think it was a better movie. I stand by that opinion. You want to talk director's cut? We can have the conversation. But I think as far as Blade Runner theatrical release versus 2049 for the theatrical release, I love 2049.
I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah,
because I'm going to put this out here and upset a lot of people. I thought Blade Runner was trash. Overrated as fuck. Biggest overrated movie.
All right. Look,
Pulp Fiction would be the second worst. Blade Runner would be one of the most overrated movies.
Let me go find my shovel. I'm digging for my shovel. All right, we're digging down. Ghost in the Shell is the most overrated anime that has ever come out.
I like the movie because that's Scarlett Johansson.
I thought the movie was great.
There's a bit of a theme with the movies I like.
Yes, yeah.
It's got a hot
girl in it.
Hot older women.
Older women, yeah.
Oh, hey.
30 now.
Yeah, no, I'm not. At my age, I got to be careful. If you're getting down under 30, I got to be a bit dodgy.
Well, relax. I'm sitting right here. But no,
you're not hot under 30 anymore.
Not anymore.
You say.
No,
Kanye West action here.
Yeah. I 100%. I actually the thing that really annoyed me with Ghost in the Shell when the furor, the internet drama came out about it was like, oh, they put a white actress in. I'm like, yes, that's literally the point. If you ever actually watch Ghost in the Shell, that is one of the main points they make is the loss of Japaneseness, the loss of Japanese identity. That made this robot body look like a white person, and then they cover that in the fucking movie. Like she meets her mum, who was her mum before she was a robot lady, and you see her and she looked like a Japanese woman.
People don't like researching their arguments.
No, that was the one for me that was like, I do not take any internet outrage seriously until I've read. I cannot trust anyone's word on fucking anything anymore.
Yeah, no, people don't like to research why they're angry. But anyway, so I actually enjoyed the Ghost in the Shell movie, but I've never.
I did. Look, like I say, I think I liked Akira. I still like it on second watch. I appreciate what it did for Thing, but for me, I don't know. I mean, like if I think about anime and stuff, Evangelion's still my number one probably of all time, and go down from there. I know yours is Sword Art Online, Lamau.
Oh, I love Sword Art Online, except the series gets a bit weird at one point.
Yeah, we know.
Watch season 1, watch the movie, and then skip.
Sterling Griff wants that to be R-rated.
Sterling Griff watches it. Don't worry. Everybody, all those politicians that complain about stuff, they're totally
yeah. I mean,
they're just feeling guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, what they say now? I don't mind this saying. It's every accusation is a confession. I actually think there's something to that, even though it's been appropriated by you.
I would like to say Shakespeare did it 200, 300 years before that. Me think the lady doth protest too much. Do you know what I mean? Like that's literally.
Yeah, but if you see somebody saying that on the internet, they're being a colossal wanker.
Well, all right, relax.
That's it.
Just trying to have a nice
somebody doth protest too much, and you go, "I'm on Facebook, idiot."
Yeah.
Like, Whatevs.
Where's
I'd say, well, you saw some Shakespeare, did you?
just show me the next reel of someone reading a Reddit today fucked up story, please.
And then they pull out the different types of, that's a straw man argument or whatever.
I mean, it might be, yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah,
I can't say what I really say because it's allowed. It's allowed in Trump land. Just
Yeah,
the R word. But I'm a fan of it, but I'm not allowed to say it here apparently.
No, I don't care. You can say it if you want.
I don't want you cancelled yet. Hey, do I want to talk about games?
Yeah, well,
do you
want?
Oh, you did about murdering, yeah. So you're practicing for cleaning up after murders. I think it's about time you actually like embrace your hobby.
Look, my thing to you would be, you've been playing Oblivion. So Oblivion came out Thursday.
That was my surprise.
3 days ago from when we recorded this.
I fit in about 50 hours.
Yeah. So like I assume so, and we were discussing this before the podcast. So it's basically the old Gamebryo code running with like an Unreal shell over it or something like that. Is that what you reckon it is?
Yeah, it's confusing what they've said because it's using the Unreal Engine to render and it looks good. Although I've got to say, it's lost a lot of green. The original Oblivion was very green. I miss that. Yeah. I realized when I was playing it, I love green in games.
Yes.
Sonic has a lot of green. Yeah. I love green.
It has zones named after being green.
Yeah, except when the chemical plant I didn't like, it's not green enough. Is it? So,
it's blue, blue.
Yeah, it's not green. There's no
where's the yellow? Yeah,
there's no green stars. That makes me. I will be sad until the end of time. And if religion's real, I'm going to ask the big dude about this. Why the fuck are they green? I know why. It's because of the light wavelength, and as it bends, you don't get green. But there should be green stars.
Let's go Muslim, then you can have the green crescent, right?
And so anyway, I've been playing Oblivion. Now, it's still got some bugs in it. It doesn't have
a Bethesda Elder Scrolls game.
No, bad. Not everything's clipping through walls. I gotta say though, Oblivion as a remake is maybe it's the quality of the game originally. I never embraced. I played a lot of Skyrim. I would have played about 200 hours. I tried to like it. Everybody was like Fuzzro-daring all the time, which is the lamest meme ever. But something about Skyrim never grabbed me after I played so much.
I played 170 hours of it, and I still regret my time with it. Like,
yeah, it just didn't. It just something about. But then go back to Oblivion, and the way it's structured, the story's okay. But the way it's structured and the way the DLCs were structured with the Knights of the Nine and stuff like that, it's actually
Sheer Gorath, bro. Come on, Sheer Gorath.
I for some reason that maybe it's because it was late. I played that last, and I was maybe tiring of Oblivion. Yeah. For some reason that it was a little bit like Alice in Wonderland. It didn't kind of grab me. But the actual being in Cyrodiil and running around and like I loved it at the time, and I've recaptured how much I loved it.
Yeah.
The graphics are incredible. You crank it right, even on my 3060 on my PC, I cranked it up to full and everything, and it looks amazing.
But that's Unreal's wheelhouse, isn't it? Right, like its ability to balance, the needs of the visual rendering.
You can tell it's Unreal. You watch it load, and it just loads like part by part, texture by texture, as it overlays everything. But it's it's an amazing remake. I'll tell you a rumor.
Mm-hmm.
You might have heard this. The next one that they've been working on in secret, because this one they dropped. They did Steve Jobs stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why they've got to do it.
Yeah.
Fuck all this. It's going to be released in 2035. It's going to be
nobody wants to go up against GTA so much so that they're going to shadow drop.
But just do it like and something else or whatever Steve Jobs used to do at the end of presentations and just announce it. Oh, it's in stores today, right? Because you can do that.
Yeah, do that with a lot of games as well. They'll be like, oh, in the Nintendo Direct today. It's like, okay,
and that's go to and you also get out of that problem where if you delay it and then you delay it again, just whatever delays happen as software. That's how it is. Anyway, but the next one it's a rumor is Fallout 3. It skipped your favorite, I know.
Fallout New Vegas was after.
It was after 3. Okay, cool. Well, Fallout 3 again. It had a really good. See, back in the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era, I still maintain was the best gaming period. And even though there's good games now like Helldivers, I always thought that 360, PlayStation 3 time, and there was also SLI on PCs. It was when the developers finally had the processing power and the graphics power and the RAM to work with, to really make their visions work.
But it wasn't that the unlimited canvas that modern gaming is, in the sense that, do you know what I mean? Like it didn't have to worry about pushing all the pixels into what someone's face looked like. They just had suddenly it was such a wide expansion from the power that was the previous generation.
It was so good enough, but not perfect.
Yeah.
But it was and it was pre when the mobile gambling
Yes.
fad
And
infested everyone. When publishers went, hey, you know what? We can make like a fortune, like finding like 2% of our gamers and just like absolutely mugging them every time they play.
I reckon someone will fact check me on this, but I think where you're making the point and that it sticks out to me is I feel like that was perhaps one of the biggest what's what I'm thinking of jumps in power that we had in the consoles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure
Yeah, from PS2. Yeah, actually, it was a big. The PlayStation 1 was a big jump.
Yeah.
But I think it was because they nailed it. And then Nintendo 64 did it, but it looked like you had cataracts every time you played one.
Well, because I mean, this is that conversation was: would you prefer this CD-based medium which can store more stuff, but it renders at worse thing, or would you like a game that can fit more game in, but like, you know, the way that Banjo Kazooie and all those games are such huge platformers and things like that.
You still had low RAM in the hardware to work with.
Yes,
and I think that's a big one for the worlds. So something like Oblivion needs RAM.
You remember the jumper pack for Nintendo was like the mega, 4 meg, the megabytes, wasn't it? It was like
yeah. That's what's amazing. Somebody's redone Grand Theft Auto 3 on the Dreamcast. It's like 2 mega RAM.
That's so nuts.
Yeah, and the real devs can't do it.
But yeah, no. But I think you're genuinely honest, because I think a lot of the things I like about the games that I play, you know, that I'm still enjoying, is because they still either maintain their old school aesthetic. And I think that's where don't forget you got your button, because that still came right through.
Yeah. Hello, James.
At least I wasn't on the mic. But but no, I feel like, yeah, it's like a lot of the, you want to talk about, you say like Fallout 3, like for all the flack Fallout 3 gets, and I still hate the ending. I still hate it because it's dumb. It doesn't make any logical sense, and that's
but it had forks, and that is the greatest gaming thing in history, is having forks.
Sure, but
also named after a real champion who if he had succeeded, would have been very different world.
Had a treason and plot, right?
Yeah, poor bastard.
And so, like, but I mean, okay, well, let's have that conversation. Forks could have just sat in that water treatment center for a couple of years reading books, instead of you having to go in and sacrifice yourself. Like,
but they did change it in the end. I mean,
you had to buy the ending. That's the one thing I don't miss about that era.
Yeah, but it was a good story.
No. I agree, but I think, like you say, with Skyrim, I played 170 hours of Skyrim. I just did not mesh with it in the way that I did. Even Oblivion, I played a lot of Oblivion. I played a lot of Morrowind. I played hundreds of hours of Morrowind.
Yeah, most people in the Elder Scrolls series, like big hell out of Oz here, if they played Morrowind first, that's their favorite. If they played Oblivion first,
it's a bit of the Doctor Who conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, Starfield's no one's favorite, but like I think I really loved New Vegas, but I liked 3. 3 was still absolutely fine. It was 4 that sucked.
Well, apparently 3's coming. Vegas is done by a different group.
New Vegas, so you say that New Vegas was owned by Bethesda, made by Obsidian, but Microsoft own both of them now. They own Bethesda and they own Obsidian. Obsidian just recently released Avowed, which I've been meaning to play after Adamfall. I'll tell you, like, well, I'm back on the Game Pass wagon. Holy crap, all those games.
I renewed mine just to play Oblivion.
Yeah, right. And so I'm like, I feel so bad for Phil that they couldn't hold out 5 months and just let him have this success and then not have to go multi-platform to keep everyone happy. You know what I mean? Like,
it worked for Sega. Why wouldn't it work for Microsoft?
Yeah, I mean, Peter Moore's not even there. Your mate.
Yeah, I still reckon shenanigans for that. I still reckon that was an inside job. That was the biggest inside job since 9/11. That one, killing the Dreamcast.
Yeah, but I mean, that was because that. But I mean, we still see that with like Capcom America versus Capcom Japan. A lot of these companies where they have the 2 branches are trying to achieve different aims, and I mean even Nintendo has to keep their different branches under wraps where possible, you know. So
they do a good job of it. So, but yeah, after watching Shogun, have you seen Shogun?
I still have.
I can see why they keep everything under wraps.
The old Shogun with Richard Chamberlain. Was it Richard Chamberlain?
Yeah. Liz was talking about. My wife was talking about that.
You're old enough to remember that name, yeah.
Yeah, I know the name. I never saw the show, but the new one's really well done, by the way.
Yeah, and so speaking of Richard Chamberlain, who loved to make things like Shogun and lots of miniseries. Thank you to Oz for commenting on the page that the word that I was looking for last week. I'm like, when they make like 2 movies back to back and they air them on
like a series,
Sunday,
but smaller.
yeah,
Like
mini
a
series.
series
It
that's
was called.
smaller than a big series.
Where was this help
Like
last week, you fucking idiot?
like a
yeah.
minute
Yeah.
and minutera.
Don't pretend. Anyway, but no, but it's interesting because now that I'm home, now that I've just got back from IEM, was working all IEM weekend, and that seemed to be very successful for us, which was good. Everyone seemed happy, but now that I'm back, I'm going to install some Oblivion, and I'm going to play a fuckload of Monster Hunter and just chill out for 5
Oblivion.
hours.
There's Monster Hunter in Oblivion. It's actually Oblivion actually is part of the Minecraft extended universe because there's Nether. The Nether's way better in Oblivion than the Minecraft. And you can run around like murdering monsters and stuff. There's zombies and stuff. Anyway, I just like the Nether portal. Anyway, Oblivion also is apparently a bit of a proof of concept to show if these things can be done, wrapping Unreal Engine over what they have already.
So I mean, Halo 1 had the remake of it. So it's not a new concept, but it's the fact that even the Halo devs are now being said, well, we're the next. I think the next ones are going to be on Unreal. Basically, they've gone, we move to Unreal.
And it's a pity because I've always Unreal and Unity and there's a free one too. I can't remember, Godot or something like that. But it's look, they're great for indie devs. And even a double A dev, how many A's are there?
Yeah.
So they're great for them because they can realize their vision without having to write an engine. Because writing an engine's hard work. But I still maintain that if you're like an Activision or a Microsoft or so on, you've got to be writing your own engine. And I say that because in say Just Cause 4, they wrote an engine just so they could do the cyclone mechanics or the tornado mechanics. And if you're going to use Unreal Engine, you're limited to whatever the Unreal devs did. And also don't like the lack of competition here, but you're limited to that. So if you have a vision that you want to deliver on a major AAA game, and a AAA game these days has way more pressure on it than I think the publishers realize because the games under them are so good. They're so well presented and they're so well made. That I think you've got to be delivering an experience that is unique, and I don't think using Unreal Engine will allow the big publishers to deliver their AAA unique experiences like they used to do.
So let me make some reasonable analogies. So you see what you think, right? So if you think of it from we come from a world of community TV, and we're very lucky, obviously, to make community TV have that time slot, blah, 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 blah. So that was 15, 17 years ago. It was a long time ago. And so it was different when I started doing this, right? Now, I'm literally doing this on 2 microphones I bought from a friend of mine who used to be a muso. I'm running off my MacBook, which you don't even have to have MacBook.
We've got a mixing deck in front of
it.
We've
got a Rode Rodecaster 2. Which is a phenomenal bit of kit for the couple of $100 that you pay for it. And despite your Minecraft, which is getting better, I will give you credit. You just cough too much. You're just gonna push a fucking button anyway. Yeah, don't do it now.
I needed to.
You came through on my mic then, which is funny.
There you go.
I'll
do yours too.
If you can hear it, they can hear it anyway. But no, it's never been.
Coughs.
It's never been easy. It's never been easy to create content. You can do it with a phone. You can do it with whatever. It's never been easy to create. So in the same way that you're saying that, is like when you are Paramount or Universal, one of these big companies, the expectations are different. If you suddenly start going, we're going to start releasing TikToks, and we go, you're fucking Paramount.
Yeah, you've got to be better. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of doing New Game Plus, it's not really the end. I mean, you and Jack are still doing it, but when I was doing it, and because I did it for 5 years, it went. By the end of it, we were doing it in a full-on studio that, like, Channel 7 or 9 or 10 or ABC would use, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the barrier on these is lower, right? So, and even with the equipment we have here for the podcast, I mean, there'd be radio stations 20 years ago that would be loving this sort of setup. So with the games, I mean, you've got the technology and the equipment available in a gaming space with something like Unreal Engine means that yes, you can make now, if you're not a Microsoft or an Activision or an EA, you can make something spectacular. You can deliver your vision without having to go to all the trouble of making everything from scratch, and that's great. That is fantastic because that enables us to have way more imagination in games. Like you're playing that murder cleanup simulator, Mr. Wolf simulator, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't going to be made 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
There's no way Nintendo was greenlighting that, right?
Like we do live in a world where Nintendo greenlights more hentai content than Sony nowadays, but that's just the world we live in.
But I mean, what I'm getting at is that so those games can exist now, and that is absolutely fantastic. Plus you've got easier publishing now through Steam and that, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually do that. I mean, so the mainline games, the big AAA games, we still have a place in the market, right? They've got to be so much noticeably better, and they can't just be things that look like some indie dev made on. Like my son right now in his game dev course, he's making games in Unreal Engine, and he's got this guy jumping on platforms and collecting coins and stuff, right? And that's not amazing. It is amazing actually, but it's not like what Nintendo does. But holy fuck, it's good. It's better than, because of the tools available and the skills that he has access to learn it. It's better than anything could have been written 20 years ago.
I will worry if he suddenly makes Shower with My Dad Simulator 2. That would be a concern. But
you'll be worried.
I'll say we got bigger concerns.
I'm not a rap singer.
I'll just hit 2 zeros and wait for the third one.
But no, so you can make those, and that is the best thing that's happened. And Unreal Engine and Unity before they committed suicide.
Yeah.
Unalived themselves.
Well, that's what happens when you hire John Riccatello, right? Like,
don't go near the AAA devs and bring them down. That's why YouTube's been worse since they hired TV execs, right? So they forget why they were good. But see, that's great. But see, your big publishers now, if they're gonna go on about having quadruple A games, they need to be not using Unreal. I have a problem with that. They need to be producing something that is so unique and so different. But you see in movies, you see a lot of movies now, the CGI looks worse than it did back in Pirates of the Caribbean days. So like it's
CGI farm, so you'll have like the
because they're being lazy, and they shouldn't be. They've got to look, and they've got to
going back to Mission Impossible. We all hate Tom Cruise because he's crazy, but because he's fucking crazy, we get good movies out of him.
We discussed this a lot. We benefit from his madness, just like we benefit from
Mel Gibson's madness,
and Adam Baldwin. We get to enjoy their characters who are stark raving mad. We can't really complain about them in real life, because if they weren't mad, we weren't enjoying it. Somebody less than Tom Cruise wouldn't play the same, right? But anyway, so what I'm getting at is Unreal Engine is fantastic. Now, this is obviously with Oblivion a test case, and it's worked spectacularly. And now, if the rumors are true that there's going to be Fallout 3, then we're going to see a lot of Unreal Engine stuff. Now, the reason Microsoft's doing it, and all the publishers love it, is because they can churn developers, right? Now, and this is a problem because the whole game industry sort of like follows this American game dev lead, where in America they're just absolutely, they have a pathological hatred of giving anybody health care or benefits, right? So they'll just work out the contract so they can just turn them over as much as possible. And Unreal Engine allows them to do that. From a pool of devs, they can keep bringing them in and out, and they don't have to know the engines like they used to. The Slipstream engine, or there was the engine used, the Dawn engine, all these other ones, right? So the rest of the industry follows suit from there all over the world, but just because the Americans are complete cunts to their workers, right? Everybody else does too, the Australian ones and Europe and that. And so that's probably my problem there with Unreal Engine being used for something like Oblivion, even though I've enjoyed it immensely and I've forgot how much I love that as a game. What it represents is a real concern to me.
So, and this is the thing. So, a lot of the big studios still have their own proprietary engines. EA has Frostbite. Capcom has RE Framework. All the big ones, a lot of the big ones still do have their own individual engine, because then they can, they've all got the limitations of all their things. But
they can deliver their vision the way they want.
Right, but my argument there is, if you think of it like, okay, when you see a Sony film, or when you see a Columbia film, or when you see a film from particular studios or houses, you knew they were going to be generally of a certain type. That, like, if you watched a comedy from 20th Century Fox, you knew it was going to be of a certain type of comedy. And I think games engines sometimes replicate that. So, okay, so it's generally going to be shot on X type of lens, on X type of film, on X type of whatever.
It's going to be an experience.
It's going to be experience.
I know what I'm getting.
And so that is where parallels to, and it's a bit on the nose to use Kojima, but stuff like Death Stranding, so what. You go into a Kojima game, you know what you're getting. It's going to be an auteur delivering this thing. And he's using, I think, the Decima engine. It's the same engine that, what's that one that I don't like? Horizon. It runs on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn. Oh, okay. You don't like it because you're a male.
Yeah.
That is wildly popular with women, that game. It's unbelievable. I mean, good. it's good to see a game where they meant it or not hit a niche.
It's the worst.
So well,
I don't get Days Gone 2, but hey, like Horizon gets a shit sequel makes me mad. But no, but with Unreal, I think, yeah, it is what it offers young devs and these things to their opportunity to tell their stories. But Unreal 5 in its current state is a counter to the big studios having their own proprietary things. Like it originally Unreal 3 and 4, Gears of War was Unreal. That was what they were showing. Oh, you can make your games using Unreal. And a lot of the studios
and everything's going to be brown.
And I think everyone hates Old Mate Tim. And I think the second part of it is that this is their counterpunch to it. It's like, why bother making a game at all when you can just remake it because of what Unreal allows you to do? I mean, Unreal's place in like TV show production, it's rolling a lot of the.
I think it's used for AFL footy.
Absolutely,
overlays on the screen.
You have a MOSIS system in the ceiling that tracks where you are in the camera on a grid as it sits, and there'll be dots that align with where you're sitting, and then you can have interactable objects front and back, and they're all rendered in Unreal. Plus, that for a long time at my TV, we've been trying to find a way to utilize prospects skills with Unreal to make a show. So we've been talking about doing like whether it's a cat or it's a fighting game show, whatever the case may be, just something that's going to utilize it in some unique way. But yeah, no, they definitely use it for the international. They use it for Valve. That I was talking to the guys at Valve, and when they realized that I knew what I was talking, well, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to gear, but I knew enough. He was so proud of what they'd done to improve those systems and some of the stuff they've done because they're Valve and they get to do whatever they want. The things he was telling me, I'm like, wow, they are really cool additions to what you've done. And he was so proud of what he'd done, which is nice to see someone who'd done something, worked with a team to do something and achieve it. And I think, yeah, if anything, that's so Unreal for all of its faults. That is something that Unreal has allowed them to do. But then you say, like, the big studios say, well, instead of making games, we can just re-release them and put that through that filter. And then, yeah.
I don't mind re-releasing because I was thinking while I was playing Oblivion, and I remember the days when everybody replaced their vinyl and cassette with CDs because the CDs were in some cases better, but then they got lazy and started compressing them horribly. But originally when you had a Triple D mastered CD, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And also those games, if you also look at it comparing to music and movies, always find that the good ones that are still like, have somebody that owns them and wants to make money, they find their way onto new formats, and now streaming's the latest one of that, and potentially the last actually. But so games should get that sort of treatment. Like if I want to buy a Rolling Stones album, I can still do that, right?
Yeah.
I can stream it, right? But if I want to play, say, Uncharted 2, right, it's kind of difficult now to do it without certain hardware. So if you find a bunch of those games, especially from what I consider a bit of a golden age of gaming around, like I said, the Xbox 360, PS3 era and the SLI era, it would be nice to see some of those come back.
Sure.
But like I said, the way, if we're going to just wrap everything in Unreal and then churn developers, that's why I'm a little bit worried. But on the other hand,
I agree.
The Oblivion remake is incredible, and the game is way better than I played it to death when I first had it on the 360. It is so good.
Does it still do the scaling? Like, because that was the worst thing about that game for me was how it scaled the enemies. And
I haven't noticed. I'm only up to level 11.
Yeah.
So far. I haven't noticed. I haven't come across any centaurs, and they were the ones that you really noticed that with.
So my experience.
I assume it does. Look, everything feels the same.
I got out of the sewers. I went straight to the ship. I stealthed onto the ship. Didn't get seen.
The sewers go for too long.
Yeah, they do. Got on the ship. Broke into the pirate ship. Broke into the chest. And what was my reward? An orange. A torch and 6 gold. I'm like, I just snuck onto the ship without being seen. I should get rewarded. Whereas I remember playing Morrowind, I snuck into a Dwemer ruin. I was level 17 to 18. The only spell that I taught myself as a non-spellcaster was teleport and mark. So I'd marked outside the thing, and the teleport had like a 1 in 17 chance of going off. I ran down, got the artifact I needed. All the Dwemer robots came to life. I hit teleport, and I'll look up and I'm outside. I'm like, oh my God. And that was just one of those moments that I just never had replicated in Oblivion again.
And anybody who's starting from scratch, the lock picking in this remake is diabolical, right? I'd forgotten. It's going to have a few people rage quitting. So I'm going to give a bit of advice. I know we're like 34 minutes in.
At least we're talking about games now.
Actually, in movies. No, so the remake. The remake comes with all the DLC, which includes the
that's good. At
the
least
Vampire Spot, the Wizard's Tower. I love the Wizard's Tower, but I'm telling you, anybody new, you want the 2 DLCs you want to chase are the Knights of the Nine. So you can early on get some really good armor and a really good mace. So chase that. The other one is the Pirates Cove. So you want to go. Go to the arena combat. Be prepared to restart a few times. You get about like between 150 and 250 for every win. So you want to go through and just keep doing the arena combat and build your way up, and you'll get enough to then go over to the Dumbarrow Cove. I think it's called. I could be wrong, but it's over near Anvil. And then you want to fill up the there's 5 pirates you buy for that. First, you have to clear it out of the skeletons. That's a really hard job. Take them down into the water, down the bottom of it. They'll get trapped, and then you can pick them off with flame. So you want to do that. And then when you've got the 5 pirates, they cost about 1,000 each in the Pirates Cove. Then you can send them out to plunder, and they will go out and they'll get you 100 times your level in gold once a week.
Nice.
And they'll put it in the thing. So at the moment, they'll come back and they'll be dropping 1,100. And it's free gold, right? And then what you want to do then is you use that to go and invest in other things. So that's a good way to get money early. And you want to do the Knights of the Nine DLC so you can early on get the Crusader armor and the Crusader mace. The Crusader mace is great, and that'll help you in the arena. And that way you'll be able to then you'll be able to get up to like level 10 with some good armor and some good weapons very quickly. Do that. Yeah. So that's a bit of advice. Pirates Cove is your friend, basically. Yeah. The plunder's great. Later on in the game, it maxes out at 2,000 a week, and you won't care when you got 50,000 gold in your pocket. But early on in the game, having them bring back like 1,000 gold pieces every week, just something you can just wait. You can just sit there and wait 24 hours at a time until it
shows up.
Then wait another day to send them out again. You can then go off and then buy everything, because everything you want is going to be about $1,000. Yeah. So if you're building the wizard, you're filling out your wizard's tower and all that, you can just do it that way. So that's how to start. If you're starting, go to Pirates Cove and go on the Knights of the Nine quest and the arena. That's your friend.
Yeah, there you go. Well, have you heard about there's the bug in like the lock picking bug where you can go to the ones you've already solved and just keep tapping on them, the empty ones in the lock picking.
Okay. Actually, the lock picking, that reminds me of what I was going to say as well. One of the guys in the Pirates Cove is a lock picking guy, and he can give you spells that unlock things.
Yeah.
So you can buy off him spells to go unlock. Now your level will have to go up as it does, but at least on the easy locks, you can just go there, spell, open, save yourself a lot of lock picks, a lot of heartache. Just make your life a lot easier, because lock picking, I don't know. I did a lot of it first time I played Oblivion, like 20 years ago, or whatever. Yeah. Now I'm doing it. I'm older. My reflex is slow. I just can't do it. I've just been casting spells on him. But yeah, do that. Pirates Code's your friend, the lockpick guy as well. He'll sell you spells to open locks, and you'll enjoy the game a lot more once you get that. Trust me.
There you go. Well, what's your next one? We'll move on from Oblivion.
Cool. Okay, so
15 minutes of Oblivion.
Okay, cool. It's worth getting, by the way, worth the money. The Oblivion, and when Fallout 3 comes out, it'll be worth it too. So what have I got here? Star Wars is getting an XCOM game.
Oh, really?
A top-down, turn-based. Oh, not top-down. Yeah, roughly top-down, turn-based.
Isometric, they call that.
Yeah, I remember that word. So it actually looks okay from what I've seen. Although most of the videos I was watching have like cinematics in them. I don't care about the Star Wars cinematics. I think they're lame and childish. But another XCOM style game is very welcome. The last one I played was the Gears of War one. That was actually really good.
Tactics was all right, yeah.
Yeah, and so this one is Star Wars. It doesn't have any of the usuals. There's no Darth Vader or anyone in it. Can't remember where the area was set, but looks interesting, and actually it's something they can work with there, because I think that sort of scenario works.
Yeah,
that sort of game.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can be a bit inventive with what you got. What else? Switch 2 pre-orders have started. If you've direct for Nintendo. So if you've got a Nintendo account, that's not true.
No, it wasn't. No, I tried it on Friday. I mean, you ask our guys, we're all in our Discord.
You're looking at me like, no.
Where is it? My Nintendo.
Yeah, if you got my Nintendo, you can do that. Also, the digital game upgrades, they're going to be $30 or $30 dues.
Yeah.
So we got a price announced for things like Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, which is a cool game. Way underrated.
That is one of Jack's favorites. You can ask him.
Oh yes, yes.
Gladly tell you about it.
Mario Odyssey. What else is there? And actually, there are only 20.
I need to spend my gold points, right? Look at that.
Fuck. Yeah, that's like Oblivion. You've had pirates go blunder. You have there.
Well, because you can't use them anymore. Once it comes out, you can't use them anymore.
That's like the chest. That's the chest in a pirate cove.
Yeah.
So yeah. And only $20 dues for the upgrade for the 2 Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. There you go.
So they were a bargain. 20
Sure. There's something. Yeah, I know bargains are worth
on Nintendo scale. They're bargain.
Yeah, right.
Torch on because I can't read right here. Okay, cool. On the Xbox, you now stream your own games. I can't believe that took so long.
Yeah.
But even then, they said you can play all your games. Only about 100 titles. So that's with Microsoft. They said you can do some, but you can't really. But anyway, you can finally stream your own games from your Xbox to your phone. Or your TV or your Oculus Quest. Pretty sure.
Yeah, okay. Because look, I'm not. I don't know.
Weird.
I've got my Steam Deck. I've got a bunch of stuff like that, and it works fine. But the caveat, it doesn't have enough power. So like when you look at the PlayStation, you have the PlayStation Portal and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't.
Try this one.
There you go. Here it goes. Hey, look at that. Yeah. Barely heard it.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Hey, Super Nintendo Jason.
Yeah. Barely like oh, there you go. Well, I can. There you go. It said hang on. I can.
You were looking at me like I was lying.
I can purchase.
I can just make things up and right. Actually, I did one. I did 1 week because I got some numbers.
I think occasionally you do. Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes I just imagine.
Yeah.
They're nice. Real to me.
It's good to have. It's good to have a story. But no, I can purchase it. For a while there, I couldn't pre-purchase it. Now I can purchase it.
It's only $769.95.
Mario Kart World. How many copies of Mario Kart World you buying?
Well, one with the console. I don't know where you'd buy. It'd be interesting to see how that goes. A lot of people complain about the price. I think they're being dumb. I think it's a new release console.
Yeah.
It's going to cost more. If you don't have to legally buy it, you can play your old Switch doesn't stop working on that day. Just calm down, people.
Bowser did say that when they were like, "Oh, what happens to people who can't afford it?" And he basically pulled the Matrix line.
Yeah,
and it was like
that was different. That was different though because when they were talking about in the Matrix days, they were basically that always on internet. Really.
Yeah, always.
And that's the thing now, by the way. So that's everything. Metric. By the way, Metric was a visionary genius. Every single thing he said was true. He was ahead of his time. That's a problem.
Ahead of his time, I'll give you.
I turn on the Xbox now. Look, and everyone's watching Netflix or Prime or something, right? So I
always made fun of the TV.
Yeah.
I do watch a lot of Plex on my Xbox. Yeah, Plex. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So visionary genius metric. What was it going with that?
Jesus Christ, brain rot.
Okay. Now the reason he said that was always on. So he said if you don't have internet, and back then remember in Australia you did not have always on internet in Australia. So that was his thing. If you don't have internet, just play the Xbox 360, and that was actually quite obnoxious.
For sure.
Whereas what Nintendo is saying is you don't have to buy a Switch too. You can still just play the Switch, and I didn't think that was nearly the same level of obnoxiousness as Metric.
No, look, I can understand that, but it's still a bit copium at the same time.
But look, let's be honest. Everybody's going to buy the Switch 2 the moment the game they want to play comes out. Now, whether that's Animal Crossing or Splatoon, it was Splatoon 4. So
basically, the same team that works on Assassin's Creed works on Splatoon, and the last game that came out was Assassin's Creed. So the argument is it's most likely Splatoon.
Splatoon, when that comes out, then yes, a lot of people are they might not like it, but they're gonna spring for Switch 2 because they want to play all their.
Yeah, I mean, wait till proper Mario comes out at Christmas, right?
I don't think Mario's a forced sale like that. I think Splatoon is.
Mario is a forced.
The other one's a Smash Bros. There's like crowds that you just have to play with your mates.
Mario Kart's a good launch title for them, but as soon as they release another Mario, they'll get their second surge. They won't release it till after Christmas, though.
Also, they'll be watching how the console supply lines work, and also the tariffs.
Yeah.
Actually, Evercade, the Blaze who makes Evercade, said there's pausing selling all their carts and everything because the US tariffs. I thought, but I'm
interesting. Coming from IEM, a lot of talking to a lot of the hardware manufacturers and how we live in a world where America is going to start paying more than Australia on both a kind of relative basis and on a basically straight up numbers basis.
Can I just say, as an Australian, I don't care.
I say suck shit. I'm with you. So,
hey, you vote for who you want, right?
You reap what you sow.
Whatevs, yeah. I mean, I don't know why, because this is something about the America. They pretend that we all have to care about them. You know what? They're like if you got a wealthy friend who thinks the whole world rolls. Oh, I've had them, right? Who think the whole world rolls about them, and so all their problems have got to be your problems. And fuck off.
Yeah.
Hey, China, send all your cheap shit to us.
Yeah.
We're Australian. We don't have a lot of money to spend in Australia, but we will buy your stuff.
Yeah.
Because what do we get off America? We get like big fuck ass trucks.
Yeah. And they're the shit on our roads. Yeah, they're awful. Yeah.
But that's it. That's what does America sell us?
He's saying this into his Chinese bought Pop Shield at the moment, by the way.
Fine. Anyway, the Americans do what they want. I don't care. Anyway, so that's the other thing that Nintendo will be watching. What was I going to say? What I got? We're getting late, so I won't bring up the 4chan hack, but that's funny as fuck.
Where they turned out everyone was a glowy, no surprise.
Well, I always say on the podcast, 4chan is full of normies pretending to be FBI agents and FBI agents pretending to be normies.
Yeah.
What's interesting is some of the info that, whether it's true or not, we're not entirely sure what came out. It would appear that there were a lot of feds on there.
Yeah.
And I think Moot knew that when he left. I think he bolted because he saw what was happening, which suggests that things like QAnon and BDanon were
ding 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 ding.
Where inside jokes.
My next sentence was I was like, we talk about the.
Remember I told you Q was Jim Watkins from 8chan.
We talk about the alt-right pipeline like it's some kind of, as if it's not just like a psyop to get people into these lone wolf mentalities and have people scared to get out of the thing and create a new generation of soldiers.
Divide and conquer is a thing.
Yeah, so for sure.
Anyway, we'll talk about that another time because basically they hadn't updated the code since Moot left. And in fact, apparently the hack happened because if you uploaded a document, it didn't check that the document wasn't code.
Nice. Just plain text that shit right in. So yeah,
that's lamer than an SQL injection attack.
Yeah,
putting all 1 = 1 at the end of your username. Anyway, we'll talk about that in detail another time, but that is funny as hell. And 4chan ain't what it used to be. Back in the glory days, 4chan was basically, it owned the internet.
But look at how much of influence Poll has had on the larger zeitgeist, and that cannot just be an organic reaction. One little corner of the internet cannot have that much action without some hidden support.
It did for a little while. It grew as a place for shit posters and people causing trouble and leaking things. But every one of those platforms, you said with Reddit and that as well, Facebook and that, there's a point where the alphabets need control and they need you only be talking about what they want you talking about because they're terrified we might talk about things they don't agree with. 4chan became one of them.
Yeah.
But yes, the number of glowies on there would suggest that all those anons might have been planted.
Not quite anonymous.
Which got other questions you got to ask, but that's another podcast maybe. Okay, so PS5 as last podcast we talked about the games. No, PSN going up.
Yeah.
Not the games. That'll be the next podcast because the consoles are going up or have gone up. What are we looking at? Torch on.
It's like $80 or something, isn't it?
Yeah. So with the disc drive, they've gone from $799.95 to $825.95, and with no disc drive, $679.95 to $749. That's a massive.
That's $80, and then you still got to pay $120 for the disc drive.
Hopefully, I got those numbers right. Anyway,
let me have a look.
You can fact check me live. So see if I'm almost true. But anyway, big jump in the no disc drive price.
Yeah, for sure. I know the ones are different. So yeah, and the PS Pro is absolutely stable.
Yeah, we're doing live fact checking.
Yeah. So
because I'm old.
$829 and then $749. You're actually correct.
I win. There we go. So there you go.
And then the disc drive is $124.95 on top of that. Motherfuckers.
The disc, cool. So there's
no way you would.
Look, I think what's happened is I thought 2 years ago that PlayStation as a brand was dead because Microsoft had just stomped it and they had made mistake after mistake, and since then Microsoft has made mistake after mistake at PlayStation.
But Microsoft actually starting to release games again as well,
like
which is interesting.
They're 10 goals down at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just stormed home at the moment. I mean, credit to Sony. But Microsoft, seriously, what are you doing? Meanwhile, Nintendo's just playing their own game.
Yeah.
Doing their own thing. So that's all the news I had.
That's it, yeah. Okay. Well, let's wrap anyway, because I think
I'll tell you a story.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you a story. I was in Coles yesterday, and because I thought some guy come up to me. He just walks up to me random. I'm just getting a creamy soda off the shelf for my son, and he walks up. He goes, "Hey, so you're a legend, bro." And I thought, well, I went, "Oh, okay."
I'm getting robbed.
Oh, I thought it's weird. It looked like a bit of a nuffy. But I walked around the rest of the time. I'm doing the rest of the shopping. I'm thinking, does he listen to the podcast or something? I thought, yeah, maybe he does, but he's no, because I have a photo on the podcast. Maybe he saw the YouTube. So I'm all confused. I'm walking around. I'm trying to going through my head, and so I'm just checking out. I see him a little while away. I thought that's weird. Maybe I'll wave or something because you may be me. But he goes up to this other person, calls. He goes, "Hey, you're a legend, bro." And I was actually really sad. I sad at everyone.
Oh, get wrecked.
So yeah, I went home all depressed after that and just sat down, for like 10 minutes that I recognised.
Oh boy. I mean, the flip side of that is me seeing a New Game Plus shirt in the wild in Tokyo. That's so funny. That's so funny.
Well, there you go, fame.
I talked about the one I had in Dandenong. Was it Woolies? I was in Woolies, and he was walking by. I said, "Oh, hey man, you're the guy from." I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah, nice to meet you." Blah blah. He goes, "Yeah, no, it's not so great around here. We're now with all the fucking oh my, here we
There you go.
like classic Dandenong. Here we go."
At least my nuffy wasn't like that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, cool. Now I have to. I guess they see me and they assume I'm simpatico, right? Like, and it's. I mean, the other one is the range where you use devices to send small bits of metal down range, usually at about 50 to 100 meters away, and you get a lot of people who suddenly start talking that soft-sit bullshit, and it's like, oh my fuck, here we go.
I actually, when I first started on New Game Plus, Alice was on the show.
Yeah,
I went up and said, "Oh, hi, Alice, I'm a New Game Plus," and she looked at me and she went, "Who are you?"
Got him.
I'm on the same show.
Wow. Shout out to Alice, who I saw today as well.
So yeah, she looked at me like, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
Fine.
If you're not Don Liam or Prospect, what good are you, right? Like, yeah. But yeah. On that note, let's wrap it up. IEM was good. Went really well. BAM is coming up. Sign up for BAM. Anything else we should mention?
Please say hello to me. I'm so lonely.
I'm so lonely. On that note. We'll steal Conan O'Brien's idea. It's like Jared McDermott needs a friend.
TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a wife.
Yeah.
Just a friend.
Womp womp.
Do I get to hand out things if
Yeah.
rejecting the friend?
Yeah, that's why he comes over here. It's like I'll humor him. I'll do this podcast with him. That way he has something to do.
He spends most time looking at me like I'm mad.
Yeah.
Like when I say, I'll go, let's talk about these PlayStation products. He looks at me like, that's not fucking true.
Okay. So that way we just won't find him in the garage with a pipe in the exhaust. So yeah.
Yeah, judging by the games you play.
I'll say,
yeah.
That was more a joke about you driving hybrids, but yeah.
Yeah, no, more. Yeah, I know, but I'm
long. Yeah.
They sit here with a
run out of petrol. Yeah.
Podcast with a man wearing no pants who's busy
playing
murder simulators.
Shorts over my underpants today, so you can just let that one drop. Anyway, on that note, we'll wrap it up. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget newgameplus.tv, facebook.com/newgameplustv, blah, blah, blah. You know the usuals. We'll see you next time. Sign up for BAM. Go play some video games. Should be good. And I hope if you're watching IEM, hope you had fun as well. See you next time.